In the year 1830, the French invaded Algeria. The Ottoman Empire had abandoned the people of Algeria and was busy solving internal disputes and crushing rebellions. The only people that defended Algeria against the French invaders were local religious scholars and tribal leaders, and brave Muslims from distant lands who answered the call for jihad against the French invaders. Musa ibn Hassan Al Darqawi was an Islamic scholar born in Egypt. Musa Al Darqawi was also a former member of the Ottoman army and had gained significant military experience fighting in the army of Muhammad Ali Pasha. Eventually, Musa Al Darqawi defected from the Ottoman army because he did not want to participate in crushing rebellions and he did not want to fight his fellow Muslim brothers. Shortly after leaving the Ottoman army, Musa Al Darqawi heard the news of the French invasion of Algeria, and therefore he decided to leave Egypt and travel to Algeria to join the resistance against the European invasion. Sheikh Musa Al Darqawi settled in the city of Mas'ud in central Algeria. He set up a base in the city and gained the support of many tribes in the region. Musa Al Darqawi and his tribal army ambushed French soldiers and inflicted huge losses on the French. Eventually, Musa Al Darqawi caught the attention of a French general known as General Marie Monget, who sent hundreds of troops to try and eliminate Musa Al Darqawi. Therefore, after 3 years of harassing French troops in Mas'ud, Musa Al Darqawi fled the city and headed south towards the desert town of Mutalli al Shaniba in 1847. The resistance movement of Musa Al Darqawi continued to gain support, and many Algerian tribes pledged allegiance to his army. Musa Al Darqawi trained these tribes in guerrilla warfare and made the southern region of Algeria a dangerous place for the French army. After receiving news that the French were advancing on his positions from the north and the east, Musa Al Darqawi fled towards Morocco in the west. By this time, the name of Musa Al Darqawi was well known throughout North Africa. Musa Al Darqawi was welcomed in Morocco by the Moroccan king Hassan bin Muhammad. King Hassan supplied Musa Al Darqawi with weapons and supplies. After staying in Morocco for a short period, Musa Al Darqawi then returned to Algeria to continue his resistance. During this period, the Algerian resistance had become weak and decentralized. The Algerian resistance fighter who had the largest number of followers was Abdul Qadir al-Jazairi. However, in 1834, Abdul Qadir signed a peace treaty with the French. This outraged many Algerian freedom fighters who condemned the treaty. Musa Al Darqawi also condemned the treaty and called on people to continue the jihad against the French. Another resistance leader who condemned the treaty of Abdul Qadir was Sheikh Ahmed Bouziani, who broke away from Abdul Qadir and formed his own army in his native village of Zacha. Zacha was a small oasis village in northwest Algeria. Sheikh Bouziani declared that the jihad would continue, and he sent letters to freedom fighters all over Algeria to join his resistance movement against the French. Musa Al Darqawi responded to the call of Sheikh Bouziani and joined forces with him. Sheikh Musa Al Darqawi arrived in the village of Zacha with his 5,000-man army. Musa Al Darqawi and Ahmed Bouziani managed to successfully repel multiple French attacks on the village. The village of Zacha became a center of resistance against the French. However, eventually the French army led by General Émile Herbion sieged the village with 7,000 troops. The French used maniacal tactics to try and force the people of the village to surrender. Civilians were massacred, houses were burnt, and women, children, and the elderly were tied to the trunks of palm trees on the outskirts of the village. The siege lasted several days, and eventually the people of Zacha were forced to surrender. The French General Herbion ordered the beheading of Sheikh Bouziani and the Egyptian Sheikh Musa Al Darqawi, and hung their heads at the gates of the Algerian city of Biskra. The skull of Sheikh Musa Al Darqawi was taken to France and kept in a museum. The skulls of Musa Al Darqawi and many other Muslim freedom fighters were only recently returned by the French government. Sheikh Musa ibn Hassan Al Darqawi Al Masri was a hero who left his homeland to defend his fellow Muslims in Algeria. His impact on the Algerian independence movement was huge, and he is remembered in Algeria as a hero.